रुचिर्यो भगवान ब्रह्मन दक्षो वा ब्रह्मणः सुतः यदा ससर्ज भूतानि लब्ध्वा भार्यां च मानवी. O holy sage, tell me how the worshipful Ruchi and Daksha, the son of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wives the other two daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. So Vidura is asking the Maitreya Rishi to describe the family of Lord Brahma. So what is so spiritual about description of a family lineage? Well, Bhagavatam wouldn't have put it if there was no relevance of if there was no any spiritual relevance. Why should Bhagavatam talk about it? So there must be some spiritual relevance. So what is the spiritual relevance? Well, you see, if we have to generate progeny, then the method of that in this material world is a man and a woman have to unite. Only then a progeny is created. And if that is so, then why is that act considered a deterrent for our spiritual life? So let us try to understand what is the logic behind this. The entire creation depends on this act, but at the same time, that act is a source of bondage in this material world. Srila Prabhupada says, any person who indulges in sex freely without any without abiding by the rules and regulations of the scriptures should be considered as cats and dogs. Prabhupada used to say Kali Yuga is full of cats and dogs civilization because they have no control. So, as human beings, we are expected to act not like animals. Animals cannot restrain themselves. Animals are driven by instinct. When they feel something, some agitation is there, they will immediately act on that agitation. Human being means even if there is agitation, he has to restrain himself. That is the fundamental meaning of being a human, or rather being a civilized human. We are sitting here We have had our prasadam. Sometimes we will feel sleepy, but yet we want to open our eyes. We make effort to sit and hear. Right? So Krishna has given us that capacity, that strength. Things which are not possible by other species of life is made possible in human society. We can control our urges, and this controlling of the urges comes about by what? Comes about by practice. A small child, a child is also human being, right? Now you bring a small child and keep him here. He cannot restrain himself. He will run here, he will run there, he will shout, he will do so many things. But the same child, by guidance from society per se, from his parents, from his family, he evolves. He develops into a very self-controlled person after some time. He will not behave that way. Right? So, sometimes we think, Prabhu, I cannot control my urges. It is beyond my capability. When something happens, we feel, no, this is beyond me. No. What does Krishna say? Krishna says how to control. Krishna gives us knowledge. In the second chapter, Krishna says, what is the verse number? Rasopyasvaja. 59. How we can control our urges. Krishna gives a beautiful way. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya deinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishva nanivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment through the taste of sense, though the taste of sense objects remain. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. Krishna is saying that the living entity who is an embodied soul, embodied means he is within this body. This body is material. The soul is embodied within this body. He may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remain. So, when we say, I cannot control, that means because we have indulged in that activity, we are not able to control. So, the taste for sense objects remain. Right? But Krishna is saying how we can control. He is saying, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste. Ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. When we say fixed in consciousness, what is our consciousness? Our consciousness should be Krishna consciousness. Right? So, by experiencing a higher taste. When we come to the temple, when we are in the material world, because there is no Krishna conscious taste, they only have material taste. So they are always running after some material taste because raso vaisaha, living entities by nature want taste. They are looking after, constantly yearning for enjoyment. So there is no any positive enjoyment. So negative enjoyment is where they will run after. But in our case, we have positive enjoyment, which is enjoyment in connection with Krishna. So if we have to go control our urges, then we have to have the enjoyment of Krishna within ourselves. So by that, both, one is Krishna talking 2 points. Krishna is talking 2 points. First is, Krishna is saying, by ceasing such engagements. First is, you don't do it. Now here, like for example, our mind says, oh, in the temple, only whatever is cooked here I can eat. Now my mind is saying, in that hotel, I'll get this, I want to eat there. So immediate action is what? You go to that hotel. Or nowadays you call Zomato, Swiggy, get the order. But by knowledge that is Bhoga. God knows what and all ingredients are there. So I should not eat it. But the taste is there, the yearning is there, the desire is there for me to eat that. So you restrict. First you restrict. Even if it is there, you restrict. That is the first level. Next, Krishna is saying what? You develop a taste for Krishna consciousness. When you have the taste for Krishna consciousness, then that material taste you will be able to overcome. So we need this day in, day out. We must experience that Krishna rasa. Then only we can restrain. So in yesterday's class, we were discussing this point. That how in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, like how to develop Krishna rasa. The first fundamental aspect of developing Krishna rasa is to chant the holy name of Krishna. We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are slowly developing taste for Krishna consciousness. So we are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. By chanting, our tongue, our consciousness becomes attracted to Krishna. And then we want more of Krishna. We want more of Krishna. How we will do? By chanting, what happens? If you chant nicely, you want more of Krishna. And what is the available things that is there more of Krishna? The deities are there. Beautiful deities are there. You feel like going and seeing the deities of Krishna. You feel like hearing. You feel like reading. Like for example, yesterday we were discussing that how Krishna, we have Navavidha Bhakti. There are 9 processes of devotional service. Right? But why the chanting of the holy name is primary? Because the chanting of the holy name is primarily because that primary activity automatically triggers the rest of the activity. You can observe, you have not chanted. The day you have not chanted the holy name in the morning, you will not be interested to read. You will not be interested to go and have darshan of the temple. You will feel I am sitting in the room of nice. You will have desires to eat anything and everything. You will have all kinds of other things, vasanas coming out. You see, but when you chant, when you get up in the morning and you did your 16 round, you see the rest of all the automatically you are engaging in that more seriously. You're automatically doing. Whereas you try out the other ways, it may be possible, but it is far more difficult. It is far more difficult. The chanting process is so easy to trigger all your other activities. So, this aspect, how to develop the taste for Krishna consciousness, is to engage in chanting. So, as soon as we chant nicely, hear nicely, we develop a taste for Krishna consciousness. And when we develop a taste for Krishna consciousness, automatically our taste for material things reduces. And when we are in very mature state of Krishna consciousness, it is completely absent. So, here in this descriptions of the verse that we are currently engaging in, the aspect of procreation. How did these great personalities procreate? So, every aspect, procreate in our idea, in our sense of understanding, seems very material. But procreate has a spiritual dimension to it. Just like Kardama Muni, just previously we read how Kardama Muni engaged in deep tapasya. And the next verse is Prajashrijeti Bhagavan Kardamo Brahmanoditaha Saraswatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadasha. The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. How many years? And for what he is doing this? To procreate. Which means to indulge in sex, he has meditated for 10,000 years. So what is material? As soon in the material world, a man and a woman, they see each other, they develop attraction. And then they meet each other. And Prabhupada says, what happens then? It's like fire and butter. So what will happen when the butter is next to the fire? Immediately it will melt. Right? So actually you see in the material world, it is instant gratification. You see something, immediately I want to gratify it. That is material world. Now Kardama Muni has a desire. He has a desire and is openly telling it. I have a desire for a good wife. I have a desire for a good family. And Kardama Muni had Sakshat Darshan of Vishnu. And Vishnu is saying it will be satisfied. So Amba Muni will come very soon with her daughter. So you see, procreation, sex is not denied. But there is a method to it. There is a way to it. In the material world, what is the discrepancy is it is instant. It is instant. You want that, I get it. Just like we say in the material world, like for example, what is the meaning of a gentleman? Say you go to somebody's house and then you see in that person's house so many nice things. So many nice things. I remember one nice example. In my childhood, in our house, next to my some few houses away, there used to be one family. Those days, people were, we used to come together very easily. So that family sometimes used to come to our house, and we were very scared when any person from that family comes to our house. You know why? As soon as they come, and if they see anything in my house, can we take this? Can we use this? Can we take this for some time? So what we used to do, as soon as we see the gate or the doorbell, we used to first peep out the window, and we said, take this and keep it inside. Should take it and keep it inside, because if that person comes inside, he will put his eyes and he will ask for it. Right? So we used to keep the run and take it. As children, we used to take it and keep it off inside. We are so scared. Same thing Krishna says. Bunjate tetvagam papam he pachanti atmakarana. As soon as your idea that I will be the enjoyer with no respect to the owner of that, then you get implicated. Te agam papam. It becomes very, very strong crime. So gentleman means what? Gentleman means, yes, this, when I see something, when I want something, so it's good, it's nice. But yet, I restrain myself. That is gentleman behavior now. So Prabhupada calls devotees as refined people. Actually, what is Bhagavatam? How does Prabhupada describe the Srimad Bhagavatam? Prabhupada describes Srimad Bhagavatam as Pibata Bhagavata Rasamalayam Bhuvirhavo Bhuvi Rasika Bhuvi Bhavakvaha. It is the most refined, the matured fruit of Vedic literatures. Most refined, the most Vedic literatures. So the same procreation, which appears to be very gross, it's a gross subject. It's grossly engaging your body to get pleasure. You indulge in sex to actually get pleasure because it gives you pleasure. But there is a purpose. In Krishna's creation, nothing is wrong. Everything is perfectly created. If Krishna has made sex part of this universe, then there must be a purpose to it. Just like yesterday, Madhupantu was saying, Dharma viruddho kamosmi bharatarshava. Kama is also Krishna's Shakti. Krishna is saying, I am that. As long as it is Dharma viruddho. As long as it is not against the principles of Dharma, Krishna is saying, Krishna is giving his own name to it. Krishna is directly saying, I am that. Dharma viruddho kamosmi bharata kama asmi. Just see, Krishna is saying, I am that. If it is not kama viruddha, dharma viruddha. So, we have to understand that Kardama Muni, before he indulged, He did so much tapasya. Whereas in this modern world, you see, if you feel like it, you have it. That's exactly what Srila Prabhupada says. That is cats and dogs civilization. You can't do that. You feel it, you do it. That's what the cat and the dog thinks. That's how animal society functions. Just like you go to the Goshala. They will pass urine there, they will pass dung there, they will sleep there, sit there, doesn't matter. We as human beings, we can't do such kind of things. We have made a bathroom, we have made a toilet. For doing, you have to go there. There's a place for that. Oh, Krishna, it's my right to dress the way I want to dress. I will wear any kind of clothes. I will show any body or part of mine. Hare Baba, Prabhupada says, yes, if you're so interested to show your body, Krishna will give you a body like that. You become trees and plants. Prabhupada used to give the example that there are trees that are 500 years old, 1000 years old. You stand for 500 years. We know the story of Nalakuva era. Right? There is a way to do such things, no? We cannot behave like that. As human beings, we have responsibility to behave. The Prabhupada used to use the example, this human life is so rare. Of all the species of the life, the human beings have the highest levels of intelligence. So why should we utilize this intelligence to again, for the purpose of indulgence? Should we waste this opportunity? Is a question that we should ponder, right? So Bhagavatam, its purpose is to actually refine us. Even if there is a desire, how that desire has to be handled, how that desire has to be looked at. Very nicely Bhagavatam is explained. So it is not simply that Vidura was interested to, let me hear this nice love stories of the saints and sages. Right? Sometimes, in the material world, they make fun that in our scriptures, बहुत साधु इन लोगों का पुराणों में जो है बहुत ऐसा उनकी रासलीला के बारे में भी बताया है. We are not interested in hearing the Raslila of the great saints and saints. If there is a description of even their familial activities, there is a purpose to that. Supposing at some point we are not able to understand, take a step back, wait. There must be some reason. That strong faith. That yes, there is nothing in the Bhagavatam that is simply put there. It is our limitation. It's our inability, even if it is there something, it's our inability to not understand its purpose. So here, it is being said that the two personalities, tell me how Uchi and Daksha, the son of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wives other two daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. These are not ordinary personalities. They have come out of deep tapasya. All these people have come out of a lot of tapasya. So it is in our interest to understand, learn about these personalities. To learn about this. Get knowledge how this universe was created. If, for example, in the previous verses earlier, I think it was mentioned that how, because if you see Bhagavatam, especially in the third canto, creation has a direct connection with consciousness. Everything is basically dependent on what kind of consciousness is you have. Like for example, in the previous verses, it is mentioned how Brahma was in this state, he created ghost. How Brahma, when he was in this created, he created something else. Like for example, is saying, see, here it is. Iti sayantanim sandhyam asurha pramadayitam pralobayantim jagrur matva moda dihastriyam. As the asuras, clouded in their understanding, took the evening twilight to be beautiful woman showing herself in her alluring form and they seized her. Next he says, with a laugh full of deep significance, the worshipful Brahma then evolved by his own loveliness, which seemed to enjoy itself, the hosts of Gandharvas and Apsaras. This next, when he is in a very happy mood, when he is loving mood, that time the Apsaras and all those people appear. Then, after that, Brahma gave up that shining and beloved form of moonlight. Vishwavasu and other Gandharvas gladly took possession of it. So you see how when Brahma is in this consciousness, this is coming. When Brahma is in this consciousness, this is happening. Then it is saying, Srishtva bhuta pishachamscha bhagavan atmatandrina digvasaso mukta keshan viksha chamilaya drishau. The glorious Brahma next evolved from his sloth, the ghosts and friends, but he closed his eyes when he saw them naked with their hair scattered. So, ultimately, all our actions are dependent on our state of consciousness. All our actions are just dependent on our state of consciousness. We develop the right kind of consciousness, we develop the right kind of actions. It doesn't matter what the action is. Prabhupada constantly stressed on this. The aspect, especially Prabhupada, the context of the Bhagavad Gita. The context of the Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna has to kill. Killing is a very not so desirable activity. But Krishna says killing is wanted. And then to make killing wanted, Krishna had to speak the Bhagavad Gita because he had to change the consciousness of Arjuna. Similarly, procreation, sex has a negative connotation. It has a negative connotation. Because sex is directly bodily connected. When I indulge in sex, I get a bodily pleasure. So how is bodily pleasure connected to spirituality? There is no connection at all. To understand how sex also has a direct connection to spirituality, direct connection to Krishna. Krishna himself is saying, Dharma viruddho kamosmi balam balavatam chaham kama raga varchita. But the first line of that is kama raga varchita. Free from lust and desire. Then it becomes dharma viruddho kamosmi. Then it becomes not against the principles of dharma. So, our state of consciousness defines what activities it is. It is not X activity, Y activity. No. What our state of activity. We do or we don't do because Krishna wants us to do that, we will do that. If Krishna says tomorrow eat meat, we will eat meat. Not that we are moralists. But Krishna doesn't want us to eat meat, so we don't. Krishna says patram pushpam phalam toya. That's why we are only restricting our diet. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada says, if of course his consciousness is so pure, but yet Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, for the sake of all of us, he says, if I was so Krishna consciousness, I would produce unlimited number of children. Strong brahmachari. So, we have to understand this in the light of these things and further aspects of how the lineage from Swayambhuva Manu proceeded can be is mentioned in these further chapters and verses. We'll stop here. If there's any question, comments. Yeah. Yeah.
Whether we devotion of the deities, kirtans, prasadam, hearing from scenery. But even amongst those activities, based on our gunas, naturally we will be selective in that. So, for example, in prasadam, I will be particularly liking sweets. Or in other cases also in darshan, I have priority this dress is good or this is not better, things like that. So, while we are developing a taste in that aspect of spiritual activities, how we can be sure that we are actually taking higher taste or it is just fanning our material desires and the material aspect of our inclinations.
Well, you see, before climbing the 10th step, we should first climb the first step, then climb the second step, then climb the third step, right? That's part of, we are not Hanuman, we can jump Lanka, right? If we try to do that, then we will drown, right? So at least let's begin the process of Krishna consciousness by dovetailing, right? Dovetailing means what? Dovetailing means do activities in connection with Krishna. So even if there are some personal likes and dislikes, and I engage in those likes and dislikes within the ambit of Krishna consciousness, it is a positive state of existence. We should not jump the boundaries. The boundaries Prabhupada has defined, right? Prabhupada has defined that even if it is sweet, even there are so many things, but at least Prabhupada himself did this, right? Prabhupada made, he called this what bullets? ISKCON bullets. And he kept in the temple jamu. But at the same Rupa Goswami says, one should not atyahara, should not indulge in too much sweets, right? But these are, it is a necessary evil sometimes. What can be done? So we give you that luxury, right? But sometimes when somebody abuses the luxury, then certain actions have to be taken. So that is a learning process. It's a learning curve. It's like small children. We allow the children in our house. Children will do shaitani. They will do some things. That doesn't mean that the parents will lock them and keep them in the room, right? There has to be moderation. There has to be some kind of a control, but at the same time within boundary. If the child is going beyond, is acting beyond certain level, then some corrective steps have to be taken, right? So similarly in a devotee's life, There are various aspects. So we know sometimes in the temple life itself, it teaches us material laws. Okay, you keep indulging. Sometimes you'll get some disease, you'll get some loose motion, you'll get some, as you age, if you eat the way you are eating when you are 25, when you are 30, and you have become 40, 45 and you eat, your digestive power will not take over. You will realize you'll get some disease, then you will say, no, I have to control my diet. And devotees learn, like for example, if they go some house program, they will eat so much, they will come back late, they will not be able to get up in the morning. So then we understand, as we go on, we know that I should draw a line here, I should draw a line there. But the point is that it should be within the boundaries. So that's a matter of detail which we need to work on. And like for example, if you go to a classroom, you will always find in the classroom, some people are 95%. Some people are 90%. Some people are 70%. And somebody like me will be there 40%. Right? You can't help it. That's part of life. Right? Everybody is part of life. No? So, they are all given an opportunity. Now, if somebody wants to be 95, 99, 100, nobody is stopping. Right? Please, that's wanted. We need to achieve that level of distinction in our spiritual practices. But Krishna consciousness is also a very liberal organization. Papi tapi yata chiro harinama udhari. That's our principle. The overriding principle is that we want to engage with the fallen soul. A devotee, a Vaishnava is paradukta dukhi. He wants, yes, we want the most. It's like for example, meritorious institution. You want to get into IoT, the cutoff is this one. You can't enter. You will take only. And then they will go see our IIT, all are big. Hey, you took all meritorious boys, Baba. Your cutoff itself is so high. Right? What's the big deal? All of them will be the top performers. But what is Prabhupada's movement? Prabhupada took hippies, drug addicts, right? All kinds of useless fellows. And then Prabhupada created organization. That's power. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. That's why we say Maha Namo Mahavadanyaya. The Krishna Kripa. He has given Krishna Prema to the most fallen souls. That shows also the power of our process. How the holy name is so powerful that it can transform the most fallen soul. Our devotional process has the capacity to actually transform them. Most of us, at least me, I am 100% sure, how it has transformed me. Most fallen. Zero spirituality. All kinds of useless habits. But by good association. Good association of people, good association of the holy name, the words, everything. Multiple reasons are there which transforms us. So, it's an hospital. In an hospital, all are patients, and patients of varying diseases are there. And some patients are very well behaved. Some patients are nasty, but the doctor has to treat the nasty patient also. He has to teach the well behaved patient also. Doctor cannot say, oh, this fellow is problem case, I will not treat him. Sometimes the doctors tell me, some of my people who are known to me, Prabhu, I am trying to do operation, that fellow is kicking me. The doctor, once I got a kick, my hand got sprained, I had to put bandage. The doctor was trying to treat him. The patient gave one kick because it pained for him. The doctor said, what can I do? Part of the life. Right? So we have all these different kind of things are there. But individual maturity, individual seriousness tries to take up Krishna consciousness in a more higher. It is not that we don't know. The thing is that all of us know what is our best way of practicing Krishna consciousness. Right? We all know what is, like you said, oh, I know, but still my own personal desires get into the way. So why ask? When we know, ultimately the doer is myself. And I only have to do, no? I give a lecture also, it's meaningless. Because the doer is me. Right? So we know. So the point is that we have to take Krishna consciousness, keep shifting the gears of Krishna consciousness, and it doesn't happen suddenly, it happens gradually. Maturity comes, we slowly, all of us. Yeah.
Prabhu wanted to know about the Vaishnava etiquettes. Like in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, we have our reverence for Vaishnavas, Vigrahas, Prasad, everything else. But in due course of time, it slackens familiarity. And we get to forget the importance of Vaishnava etiquettes actually which brought us and which made us more serious in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So, familiarity breeds contempt. The real reason is that the more we become familiar, the more we become contemptuous. So we must not forget that. Krishna has given us the free will. We are here because we have broken the free will. Right? So the risk of fall down is always there. It's an eternal thing. So if we are constantly alert and if we maintain our consciousness properly, then these things can be prevented. But it takes tremendous practice and care that we don't take things for granted. So the tenets of Krishna consciousness, if we are ultimately only serious devotees can survive. Srila Prabhupada himself said that. When Srila Prabhupada was there in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada saw so many devotees falling down. So then Srila Prabhupada mentioned this. Most of them will fall. And the reasons could be many of these kinds. Offenses, not practicing Krishna consciousness seriously, all those kind of things. So we must practice seriously. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham. That tivra, that strong determination, that rigidness to practice. Rigidness is not like by force, I got up, came Mangala, all other aspects also. But again, we must be self-assured that Guru and Gauranga, they are very merciful. Our mission is a mercy mission. So, devotees are also merciful. They understand chota bacha actually. They will forgive you. So it is, but if you keep on taking it for granted, just like Krishna was merciful to Shishupala. Shishupala was going on offending. He was a Rakshasa. He was going on offending. Okay. As soon as the 100th time he did that, then Krishna put his Sudarshan Chakra and cut off his head. It's not that our state will be like that, but we should be careful. Right? There is no other way to it. Again, the onus of responsibility is on us. Like for example, if you tell, "Oh, मैं पढ़ता नहीं हूँ, मैं फेल होता हूँ, तो क्या करूँ?" What will I tell? तू पढ़ो भाई. I can't do anything. Right? If you tell me I will not study, I will not do anything, and if you tell Prabhu I will fail, really I have no answer for it. Yeah. Like Prabhupada used to always say that only. No, you can take a donkey to the pond, but if the donkey tells, "Hey, I'm not getting water, I'm still thirsty," pond, water, drink. No, water, I'm thirsty. If you keep on telling, drink, man, pond is there. So this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. Krishna consciousness is all about is not like, I can't do anything about it. Like for example, Gajendra's Leela, if you see, in the prayers of Gajendra, very nicely Gajendra says, when the crocodile attacks Gajendra, all his relatives, family, they come to help him. And at that time, after some time, they're all helping him. They're all trying to help Gajendra to come out of that situation. So then nobody is able to help because inside water, the crocodile is a king. Right? No, you can be a 15-20 ton animal, but that small crocodile is too powerful there, right? So then Gajendra is losing, and then Gajendra says, "Will you please go away?" He tells to all his family, friends, relatives, "You please go away. None of you can protect me, and I take shelter of Vishnu." He takes shelter of Vishnu. It's meaningless. The same thing in the second canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Asat Sainiyes, Asat Swam. All these so-called people, meaningless. Actually, so sometimes even within the institution of the temple, devotees are there, but if I am not really taking up Krishna consciousness, all others seems to be meaningless to me. Because ultimately it's relationship with Krishna is individual. You have a unique individual relationship with Krishna, and you will have to engage, perform, produce. Right? So this is part of our thing. Like Rishabdev says, what does Rishabdev give his children the instruction? Rishabdev says to his children, Tapodavya, you have to do tapasya. We have to do tapasya. That is our tapasya. No? If you are doing tapasya, somebody can help you. If you are not at all doing tapasya, what can anybody do? If I am having diabetes, okay, doctor will help me. Okay, he'll give me insulin, give me this medicine. I am having diabetes. Inside I am going and gorging on ice cream and jamun and everything I am eating. And doctor kuch nahi kar raha hai. My mother is not doing anything. What is the use of talking? Yeah. Meaningless, no? From my side, I have to show restriction. From my side, I have to do so many things. There is a responsibility at our end, right? So when there is a responsibility at our end, and we also follow, then somebody can slightly, sometimes in spite of that, things don't happen. That is our vidhi. Can't help it, right? Start of the day. We'll stop there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prabhupada.